A rich man forgot his wallet at a coffee shop. A poor girl used her tip money to pay for his coffee. She didn't know the stranger was her real father, the father who thought she was dead. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. The small coffee shop on Pine Street was busy that Tuesday morning. People rushed in and out, buying their morning drinks before work. Behind the counter, 15-year-old Maya worked quickly, making coffee and serving customers with a bright smile. Maya had been working at Coffee Corner for 6 months now. She worked every day after school and on weekends. The money she earned helped her and her grandmother pay for food and rent. Her grandmother was sick and could not work anymore. Maya never complained about working so much. She was happy to help the woman who had raised her since she was a baby. "Good morning, what can I get you?" Maya asked each customer with the same cheerful voice. Even when she was tired, she always smiled. Her boss, Mrs. Chin, often said Maya was the best worker she had ever hired. That morning, a man in an expensive suit walked into the shop. He looked stressed and kept checking his gold watch. His phone kept ringing and he answered it with short, angry words. Maya could tell he was having a bad day. The man was Robert Williams, one of the richest people in the city. He owned many companies and had more money than he could ever spend. But Robert was not happy. He worked all the time and had no real friends. He had been married once, but his wife left him years ago. She said he cared more about money than people. Robert rarely came to small coffee shops like this one. He usually had his assistant bring him coffee at his office. But today his car had broken down nearby and he needed coffee badly. He had an important meeting in 20 minutes. "I'll have a large black coffee, extra strong," Robert said rudely, not looking at Maya. He was still talking on his phone about business deals. Maya smiled and started making his coffee. She made it extra carefully because the man seemed to need it. When she finished, she handed him the cup. "That will be $4.50, Maya said politely. Robert reached for his wallet, but it was not there. He checked all his pockets. Nothing. He had left his wallet in his broken-down car. "I don't have my wallet," he said, looking embarrassed for the first time in years. The line behind him was getting longer. Other customers started looking annoyed. Robert felt his face turn red. He was a millionaire, but he could not pay for a simple cup of coffee. "I can come back later with money," Robert said quietly. But Maya had already made a decision. She reached into her own pocket and pulled out a $5 bill. It was money from her tips, money she was saving to buy medicine for her grandmother. "Don't worry about it," Maya said, handing the money to Mrs. Chen at the register. "I've got it." Robert stared at her in shock. This young girl, who clearly did not have much money, was paying for his coffee. Her uniform was old and had small holes. Her shoes were worn out. But she was helping him without asking for anything back. "You don't have to do that," Robert said, feeling strange. No one had done something kind for him in a very long time. "It's okay," Maya smiled. "Everyone has bad days. Maybe someone will help me when I need it too." Robert took the coffee, but he could not stop looking at Maya. Something about her seemed familiar, but he could not figure out what it was. Her eyes were the same green color as his. Her smile reminded him of someone, but he could not remember who. "Thank you," Robert said softly. "What's your name?" "Maya," she said. "Maya Johnson." The name hit Robert like lightning. Johnson was his ex-wife's last name. But that was impossible. His wife had told him she lost their baby before it was born. That was 16 years ago. This girl looked about 15 or 16 years old. Robert's hands started shaking. He almost dropped his coffee. Could this girl be his daughter? The daughter he thought had died? "Maya, how old are you?" Robert asked, his voice barely a whisper. "I just turned 15 last month," Maya answered, wondering why this stranger looked so upset. Robert felt the world spinning around him. The math was right. The timing was perfect. This could be his child. "Who raised you?" Robert asked, trying to sound casual. "My grandmother," Maya said. "My mom died when I was little. Grandma said my mom was very young when she had me. She never told me much about my father." Robert's heart was beating so fast he thought it might stop. He needed to know more, but the coffee shop was busy, and Maya had to serve other customers. "I have to go," Robert said, but he did not move. He just stood there, staring at Maya like he had seen a ghost. For the rest of the day, Robert could not think about anything else. He canceled all his meetings. He hired a private detective to find out everything about Maya Johnson. By evening he had his answer. Maya was his daughter. His ex-wife, Sarah, had lied to him. She had not lost the baby. She had given birth to Maya and then given her to Sarah's mother to raise. Sarah had died in a car accident when Maya was 3 years old. Maya's grandmother had been taking care of her ever since. Robert cried for the first time in 20 years. He had a daughter. A beautiful, kind daughter who had been living in poverty while he lived in luxury. She had been working hard to take care of her sick grandmother while he complained about which expensive restaurant to eat at. The next morning, Robert went back to the coffee shop. He waited until Maya's shift was over, then approached her carefully. "Maya, can I talk to you for a few minutes?" he asked. Maya looked nervous. "Am I in trouble? Did I do something wrong yesterday?" No, Robert said quickly. "You did something wonderful yesterday. I just want to thank you properly." They sat at a small table in the corner. Robert did not know how to begin. "How do you tell someone you are their father?" "Maya, this might sound crazy, but I think I might be your father," Robert said quietly. Maya stared at him like he was insane. "What? That's impossible. My father. Grandma said he didn't want me." "That's not true," Robert said, his voice breaking. "I never knew you existed. Your mother told me you had died before you were born. I've been thinking about that lost baby for 16 years. Maya's eyes filled with tears. "You're lying." "Why would my mom lie about that?" Robert pulled out some papers the detective had given him. Birth certificates, hospital records, everything that proved Maya was his daughter. "I can prove it," Robert said gently. "We can do a DNA test if you want. But I already know the truth. You have my eyes, Maya. And yesterday when you helped me, you showed the kind of heart I wish I had." Maya read through the papers with shaking hands. Everything matched. The dates, the names, the hospital where she was born. "If you're really my father," Maya said, wiping her tears, "why didn't you look for me?" "Because I thought you were dead," Robert explained. "Your mother and I were very young. We fought a lot. When she told me the baby died, I was sad, but I also felt relieved. I wasn't ready to be a father. I was selfish and only cared about making money." "What about now?" Maya asked. "What do you want now?" Robert took a deep breath. "I want to be your father. I want to help you and your grandmother. I want to make up for all the years I missed." Maya was quiet for a long time. Finally she spoke. "My grandmother is very sick. She needs expensive medicine, but we can't afford it. If you really want to help her first." Robert's heart broke again. Even now, Maya was thinking about others before herself. "Of course," Robert said. "We'll get her the best doctors, the best medicine, whatever she needs." That afternoon, Robert went with Maya to meet her grandmother, Mrs. Johnson. The old woman was lying in bed, very weak and pale. When Maya explained who Robert was, Mrs. Johnson started crying. "I always wondered if this day would come," she said softly. "Sarah made me promise never to tell Maya about you. She said you had your own life and didn't need the trouble." "Sarah was wrong," Robert said. "Maya is not trouble. She's a gift. And I've wasted 15 years not knowing her." Over the next few weeks, Robert's whole life changed. He moved Maya and her grandmother into his big house. He hired the best doctors to take care of Mrs. Johnson. He enrolled Maya in a good private school. But most importantly, he started spending time with his daughter. Maya was amazed by her father's world. The big house, the expensive cars, the fancy restaurants. But Robert was more amazed by Maya's world. She showed him how to find happiness in simple things. They cooked dinner together. They watched movies. They talked for hours about everything and nothing. "You know," Maya said one evening as they sat in the garden, "I used to dream about having a father. But in my dreams he was just a regular person. I never imagined he would be rich." "Money doesn't make someone a good father," Robert said. "I'm still learning how to be the father you deserve." "You're doing okay so far," Maya smiled. "But I have one request." "Anything," Robert said. "Can I keep working at the coffee shop? Mrs. Chin needs help, and I like making people happy with good coffee." Robert wanted to say no. His daughter should not have to work. But he saw how important it was to her. "Okay, but only part-time. And I'm giving Mrs. Chin money to hire more workers so you don't have to work so hard." Maya hugged him tight. "Thank you, Dad." It was the first time she had called him Dad. Robert felt like his heart might explode with joy. Months passed. Mrs. Johnson got better with the new medicine. Maya excelled at her new school but still worked at the coffee shop on weekends. Robert changed too. He started caring more about people than profits. He gave money to help other families like Maya's. He even started volunteering at local charities. One day, exactly 1 year after Maya had paid for his coffee, Robert came back to the coffee shop. This time he was not stressed or angry. He was smiling. "The usual?" Maya asked with a grin. "Yes, please. But this time I'm paying," Robert said, pulling out his wallet with a dramatic flourish. Are you sure you have money this time? Maya teased. Very funny, Robert laughed. But I have something even better than money now. What's that? I have a daughter who taught me that the best things in life are free. Love, kindness, family. You can't buy those things. Maya handed him his coffee. Well, you can still buy coffee. They both laughed. Other customers in the shop smiled, watching the happy father and daughter. Maya, Robert said seriously, do you ever regret paying for my coffee that day? Maya thought for a moment. That $5 was the best money I ever spent. It bought me a dad. Robert hugged her across the counter, not caring that other people were watching. No, he said softly, it bought me a daughter. And that's worth more than all the money in the world. As Maya served the next customer, Robert watched her with pride. His daughter had taught him the most important lesson of his life. True wealth comes from the love we give and receive, not from the money we make. That small act of kindness in a coffee shop had changed both their lives forever. Maya had been looking for a way to help her grandmother. Instead, she had found her father. And Robert had been looking for success and money. Instead, he had found something much more valuable, the love of his daughter and the joy of being a real family. 6 months later, Maya's grandmother was completely healthy again. The expensive treatments had worked perfectly. Mrs. Johnson was now strong enough to help in the garden and even started teaching Maya how to cook traditional recipes. I never thought I would live to see Maya graduate high school, Mrs. Johnson told Robert one evening. Thank you for giving me this gift. Thank you for raising such an amazing daughter, Robert replied. You did what I should have done. Maya was doing wonderfully in her new school. Her teachers said she was one of the smartest students they had ever seen. But Maya never let success go to her head. She still worked at the coffee shop every Saturday, and she used her allowance to help other kids at school who needed lunch money. One day, a new customer came into the coffee shop. He was a young man about 20 years old, and he looked very sad. His clothes were dirty and he had not eaten in days. Can I have just a small coffee? He asked Maya. I only have $2. Maya looked at him with kind eyes. She remembered being in difficult situations herself. Without thinking twice, she made him a large coffee and gave him a sandwich from the display case. That's $4 total, she said with a smile. The young man looked confused. But I only have $2. Then $2 is perfect, Maya said, taking his money. She paid the extra $2 from her own pocket, just like she had done for her father. Robert was sitting at a corner table watching everything. He had started coming to the coffee shop every Saturday to spend time with Maya during her breaks. When he saw what happened, his heart filled with pride. After the young man left, Robert approached the counter. You know, you're just like your mother, he said softly. Maya looked surprised. You never talk about my mother. What was she like? Robert sat down and thought carefully about his words. Your mother was the kindest person I ever knew. She would give her last dollar to help someone in need. She loved helping people just like you do. Why did you two break up? Maya asked gently. Because I was young and stupid, Robert admitted. I thought money was the most important thing in the world. Your mother tried to teach me about kindness and love, but I wouldn't listen. I was too busy trying to become rich. Do you miss her? Every day, Robert said honestly. But I see her in you. You have her heart, Maya. That weekend, Robert made a big decision. He had been thinking about it for months, but now he was sure. Maya, I want to start a foundation, he announced at dinner. A foundation that helps families like yours. Families where kids have to work to support sick relatives. Maya's eyes lit up. Really? That sounds amazing. I want you to help me run it, Robert continued. You understand what these families need because you lived it yourself. Mrs. Johnson smiled from across the table. That's a wonderful idea. Maya has always wanted to help people. Over the next few months, they worked together to create the Maya Foundation. Robert used his business connections, and Maya shared her ideas about what families really needed. They provided money for medical bills, school supplies for kids, and job training for parents. The foundation's first big event was a community dinner for families in need. Maya insisted they hold it at the community center near the coffee shop, in the neighborhood where she grew up. These are my people, Maya told her father. This is where I belong. The night of the dinner, over 200 people came. Families who had been struggling for years finally had a place to get help. Kids who had been working after school could now focus on their studies. Parents who had been working multiple jobs could spend more time with their children. Maya stood up to speak to the crowd. She was nervous, but her father gave her an encouraging nod. A year ago, I was working in a coffee shop trying to help my sick grandmother, Maya began. I never imagined my life could change so much. But I learned something important. When we help each other, amazing things happen. The crowd applauded loudly. Many people were crying, including Robert. My father taught me that success isn't about how much money you have, Maya continued. It's about how many people you help along the way. After the dinner, a reporter from the local newspaper wanted to interview Maya and Robert about their foundation. What inspired you to start this foundation? The reporter asked Robert. My daughter inspired me, Robert said simply. She showed me that a $5 act of kindness can change someone's entire life. The reporter looked confused. $5? Maya laughed and told the story of how she had paid for her father's coffee. The reporter was amazed. So you're telling me that paying for a stranger's coffee led to all this? The reporter asked. Sometimes the smallest actions have the biggest results, Maya said wisely. The newspaper article was published the next week with the headline, $5 that changed everything. The story went viral on social media. People from all over the country started sending donations to the Maya Foundation. But the attention also brought some challenges. Some people criticized Robert, saying he was only doing charity work to look good. Others said Maya was too young to understand real business. Maya was upset by the negative comments, but Robert helped her understand. Not everyone will understand what we're doing, he told her. Some people think helping others is just for show. But we know the truth. We're doing this because it's right, not because it looks good. How do you handle it when people say mean things about you? Maya asked. I remember why I'm doing this, Robert said. I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for the families we help. And I'm doing it because my daughter taught me what really matters in life. As Maya's 16th birthday approached, Robert wanted to do something special. He planned a big party with all her friends from school and work. But Maya had a different idea. Dad, instead of a party, can we use that money to help more families? She asked. Robert stared at his daughter in amazement. Most teenagers would want expensive gifts and big parties. But Maya wanted to help others. Are you sure? Robert asked. It's your birthday. You should celebrate. I am celebrating, Maya smiled. I'm celebrating by sharing our blessings with people who need them. So instead of a big party, they organized a birthday celebration at the community center. They invited 50 families who needed help, and instead of receiving gifts, Maya gave each family $1,000 to help with their expenses. This is the best birthday ever, Maya told her father as they watched families crying with joy over the unexpected help. You are the most amazing person I know, Robert said, hugging his daughter. Mrs. Johnson watched from her wheelchair, tears streaming down her face. Sarah would be so proud of both of you, she whispered. That night, as they drove home from the celebration, Maya asked her father a question that had been on her mind. Dad, do you think Mom would forgive you for not being there when I was little? Robert was quiet for a long time. I hope so, he finally said. But more importantly, can you forgive me? Maya took her father's hand. There's nothing to forgive. You didn't know about me. And when you found out, you did everything you could to make it right. I miss so many years, Maya. Your first steps, your first words, your first day of school. But you're here now, Maya said softly. And that's what matters. By Maya's junior year in high school, the Maya Foundation had helped over 1,000 families. They had opened 3 community centers, provided scholarships to 50 students, and created job training programs in 5 different neighborhoods. Maya still worked at the coffee shop every Saturday. Mrs. Chen had tried to make her a manager, but Maya preferred serving customers directly. Why do you still work here? A classmate asked her one day. Your dad is rich. You don't need this job. I don't work here because I need to, Maya explained. I work here because I want to. This job taught me about hard work and helping others. Plus, you never know who might walk through that door needing help. One Saturday morning, a familiar face walked into the coffee shop. It was the young man Maya had helped months earlier. But now he looked completely different. He was clean, well-dressed, and smiling. I don't know if you remember me, he said to Maya, but you helped me when I had nothing. You bought me coffee and a sandwich when I only had $2. Maya smiled. Of course I remember. How are you doing? Amazing, the young man said. That day I was ready to give up on everything. I hadn't eaten in 3 days and I was thinking about doing something stupid. But your kindness gave me hope. I went to a job interview that afternoon and I got the job. I've been working there ever since. Maya felt tears in her eyes. I'm so happy for you. I came here to pay you back, the young man said, pulling out a $20 bill. Keep your money, Maya said. But if you want to pay me back, help someone else when they need it. The young man nodded and left with a huge smile. Robert, who had been watching from his usual corner table, came over to Maya. "Do you realize what just happened?" he asked. "What do you mean?" "You saved that young man's life. He was ready to give up, but your kindness gave him hope. Now he has a job, a future, everything he needs." Maya thought about this. "It was just coffee and a sandwich." "No," Robert said firmly. "It was love in action. It was showing another person that they matter. That's the most powerful thing anyone can do." As Maya's high school graduation approached, she had to make a big decision about college. She had been accepted to Harvard, Stanford, and several other top universities. Everyone expected her to choose the most prestigious school. But Maya surprised everyone again. "I want to go to the state university here in town," she announced. "Why?" Robert asked. "You could go anywhere you want." "Because I want to stay close to home," Maya explained. "I want to keep working with our foundation. I want to keep helping families in our community. The most expensive school isn't always the best choice." Robert realized his daughter was right. She had learned something that had taken him decades to understand. Success isn't about impressing other people or choosing the most expensive option. It's about making choices that align with your values and allow you to help others. On graduation day, Maya was chosen as the valedictorian. In her speech, she talked about the importance of kindness and helping others. 3 years ago, I was a girl working in a coffee shop, trying to help my sick grandmother," Maya said to the crowd. "I thought my biggest dream was to make enough money to buy her medicine. I never imagined that a simple act of kindness would lead me here." She looked at her father in the audience. "I learned that when we help others, we don't just change their lives. We change our own lives too. My father and I found each other because of kindness. Our foundation exists because of kindness. Everything good in my life came from one simple decision: to help a stranger who needed coffee." The entire graduation crowd stood up and applauded. Robert was crying with pride. After graduation, a reporter asked Maya what advice she would give to other young people. "Never underestimate the power of small acts of kindness," Maya said. "You never know how much a simple gesture might mean to someone, and you never know how it might change your own life." That summer, before starting college, Maya decided to take a trip. But instead of going to Europe or some exotic location, she wanted to visit other cities to learn about their community programs. "I want to see how other people are helping their communities," she told her father. "Maybe we can learn some new ideas for our foundation." They visited 10 different cities, meeting with community leaders, visiting shelters, and talking to families in need. Maya took notes everywhere they went, always looking for ways to improve their programs. In Detroit, they met a woman who had started a program teaching job skills to single mothers. In Atlanta, they visited a community garden where kids learned about healthy eating. In Seattle, they saw a program where high school students tutored elementary kids after school. "There are so many good people doing amazing work," Maya told her father. "It makes me hopeful about the world." When they returned home, Maya had dozens of new ideas for expanding their foundation. She wanted to start a job training program, a community garden, and a tutoring center. "Slow down," Robert laughed. "We can't do everything at once." "Why not?" Maya asked. "Every day we wait is another day that families are struggling." Robert looked at his driven, passionate daughter and realized she was right. They had the resources to help more people. Why should they wait? By the time Maya started college, the Maya Foundation had grown into one of the largest community organizations in the state. They were helping thousands of families, and other cities were copying their programs. But Maya never forgot where it all started. Every Saturday she still worked her shift at the coffee shop on Pine Street. And every Tuesday morning Robert still came in for his coffee, not because he needed it, but because he wanted to remember the day his life changed forever. Mrs. Chin had framed the newspaper article about Maya and Robert and hung it on the wall behind the counter. Customers often asked about it, and Maya would tell them the story with a smile. "It all started right here," she would say, "with $5 and a decision to be kind." The coffee shop on Pine Street had become famous as the place where a millionaire found his daughter and where a simple act of kindness created a foundation that helped thousands of people. But for Maya and Robert, it was simply the place where their family began. Every cup of coffee served there was a reminder that love can be found in the most unexpected places, and that sometimes the smallest gestures create the biggest miracles. As Maya started her freshman year of college, studying business and social work, she carried with her the lesson that had changed both her and her father's lives. True wealth isn't measured in dollars, but in the lives you touch and the love you share. And every morning as she walked past the coffee shop on her way to class, Maya would smile and remember the day she spent $5 to help a stranger, never knowing that stranger would become the father she had always dreamed of having.